The Dominion fleet arrived at the edge of human space like a dark cloud covering the stars. 10,000 ships moved in perfect formation, their hulls gleaming with the metal of 100 conquered worlds. Fleet Commander Zarthis stood on the bridge of his flagship and smiled with satisfaction. The humans would surrender quickly once they saw the size of his force. Zarthis had destroyed 47 different species during his career. Some fought back for a few days. Most surrendered immediately. The humans would probably surrender before the shooting even started. His scouts had reported only small colonies and mining stations in this region of space. Communications officer, begin the standard ultimatum broadcast, Zarthis ordered. His voice carried the authority of someone who had never been defeated. Make sure they understand that resistance is futile. The message went out across all frequencies in dozens of languages. It was always the same message. Surrender unconditionally or face complete destruction. Join the Dominion Collective as slaves or die as free beings. Most species chose slavery. The response came faster than expected. It was broadcast from Earth's lunar command station and transmitted to every Dominion ship simultaneously. The voice belonged to Admiral Ben Hayes, and he spoke perfect Dominion language without any accent or hesitation. Dear Dominion Collective, Admiral Hayes began, his tone polite and friendly. Thank you for your generous offer of slavery and death. We have given it careful consideration and respectfully decline. Zarthis frowned. No species had ever declined the ultimatum in such a casual manner. Most begged for mercy or threatened revenge. This human sounded like he was discussing dinner plans. Admiral Hayes continued. However, we would like to make a counteroffer. Leave now, and we will let half of your fleet survive the journey home. Stay, and we will demonstrate why humans spent 3,000 years preparing for uninvited guests like yourselves. The Dominion bridge crew looked at each other in confusion. Zarthis felt his first moment of doubt. The human admiral sounded confident, almost amused. Species that were about to be destroyed did not sound amused. Sir, said the communications officer, should we respond to their counteroffer?
No, Zarthis replied firmly.
They are trying to confuse us with empty threats. No primitive species has ever resisted the Dominion for more than a few hours. Begin the attack on their outer colonies. The Dominion vanguard, nearly 1,000 ships, moved toward the human colony of Redemption. It was a small agricultural world with maybe 50,000 inhabitants. The planet had no visible defenses and only a few orbital stations. It would be destroyed in minutes as an example to the rest of humanity. Colonel Amy Brooks watched the alien fleet approach from her command center beneath Redemption's surface. Her defense force consisted of herself, 12 junior officers, and the most advanced military technology in the galaxy. She had been waiting for this moment her entire career. Colonel, the alien fleet is 2 hours out, reported Lieutenant Carl Davis. They're not even bothering with formation. They think this will be easy. Amy smiled. She had trained for this scenario hundreds of times in simulation. The difference was that now she had real weapons instead of computer models. Activate the planetary defense grid. Bring all weapon platforms online. It's time to introduce our guests to human hospitality. The surface of Redemption began to change. What looked like farms and forests revealed themselves as camouflaged weapon installations. Massive gun turrets rose from hidden silos. Shield generators created a glowing barrier around the entire planet. The few orbital stations suddenly bristled with enough firepower to level continents. The Dominion vanguard arrived expecting to find helpless farmers. Instead, they flew into the most sophisticated planetary defense system ever constructed. The first wave of alien ships was destroyed before they could even return fire. The second wave managed to shoot back, but their weapons could not penetrate the human shields. All alien vessels. This is Colonel Amy Brooks of the 7th Colonial Defense Force. Amy broadcast to the surviving attackers. You came here to destroy innocent people. Instead, you found soldiers. Surrender now or join your friends. The Dominion commander tried to rally his remaining ships for another attack. It was a mistake. The human weapons fired again, and the space around Redemption became filled with expanding clouds of wreckage. In 6 hours, nearly 1,000 Dominion ships had been reduced to scrap metal. Human casualties, 0. The survivors of the Vanguard fled back to the main fleet, broadcasting desperate warnings about human defenses. Zarthis listened to their reports with growing alarm. Primitive species did not have planetary shield generators. Primitive species did not destroy entire fleets without taking a single loss. Sir, we're receiving another transmission from the human admiral, the communications officer reported. Admiral Hayes appeared on the main screen, still looking calm and confident. Behind him, Zarthus could see other human officers working at control stations. None of them looked worried about facing 10,000 alien ships. "Fleet Commander Zarthus," Admiral Hayes said, "I believe you have something that belongs to us." "What are you talking about, human?" Zarthus demanded. "The wreckage of your Vanguard fleet. We'll need that metal for our own shipbuilding projects. Don't worry, we'll put it to better use than you did." Zarthus felt his anger rising. "You destroyed 1,000 ships through trickery and hidden weapons. The main fleet will not be so easily surprised." "You're absolutely right," Admiral Hayes agreed. "The main fleet won't be surprised at all. They'll see exactly what's coming for them. We humans believe in being sporting about these things." The transmission ended, leaving Zarthus staring at a blank screen. His confidence was beginning to crack. The humans were not acting like any species he had ever encountered. They were not afraid. They were not begging for mercy. If anything, they seemed to be enjoying themselves. "Sir, should we call for reinforcements?" asked his second-in-command. "No," Zarthus replied. 10,000 ships are more than enough to handle one primitive species. We will show them that the Dominion Collective cannot be defeated by clever tricks and hidden weapons." What Zarthus did not know was that humanity had been preparing for exactly this type of enemy for 3,000 years. They had studied every possible strategy, built counters for every known weapon, and created tactics specifically designed to defeat large fleets with superior numbers. On Earth, Admiral Hayes was reviewing the battle reports from Redemption with satisfaction. Colonel Brooks and her team had performed exactly as expected. The aliens now knew that humans could fight, but they still had no idea how well humans could fight, sir. "The main Dominion fleet is moving toward the inner colonies," reported Commander Danny Price. "They're probably hoping to bypass our outer defenses." "Let them come," Admiral Hayes replied. "Every human world is defended. Every colony is ready. These aliens think they're fighting farmers and miners. They're about to discover they're fighting the most militarized species in galactic history." The Admiral activated the fleet-wide communication system. His voice reached every human ship, station and colony throughout known space. "All units, this is Admiral Hayes. Operation Homecoming is now active. Show our guest why humanity spent 3,000 years getting ready for company." Across human space, ancient systems activated for the first time in millennia. Hidden fleets emerged from asteroid bases. Weapon platforms powered up on every world. Defense grids that had been disguised as civilian infrastructure revealed their true purpose. The Dominion Collective had come to human space expecting to find easy prey. Instead, they had awakened the most dangerous military force the galaxy had ever seen. The 3,000-year silence was about to end with the loudest roar in galactic history. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his ship and looked at the screens in front of him. The numbers made no sense. After 3,000 years of quiet space, something was sending signals toward Earth. The signals were not random noise from stars or planets. They were organized, planned, and they were getting closer every day. Jake rubbed his tired eyes and looked again. The New Horizon had been patrolling the outer edge of human space for 6 months. It was supposed to be a boring job. Human ships rarely found anything interesting out here. Most of the crew thought they were wasting time flying around empty space. Now Jake wished they were right. The door to the bridge opened and Dr. Lisa Carter walked in. She carried a tablet and looked worried. Lisa was the ship's expert on alien languages, though she had never actually met an alien. No human had seen an alien for 3,000 years. That was about to change. "Captain, I need to show you something," Lisa said. Her voice was quiet and nervous. She handed him the tablet. "I've been working on these signals for 3 days. I finally figured out what they're saying." Jake took the tablet and read the translation. His face went pale. The messages talked about cleaning protocols and removing inferior species. The aliens called themselves the Dominion Collective. They had been destroying civilizations across the galaxy for 1,000 years. Now they were coming for humanity. "How many ships are we talking about?" Jake asked. "The signals suggest thousands," Lisa replied. "Maybe tens of thousands." "Captain, they're not exploring or trading. They're coming to wipe us out." Jake nodded slowly. He had been a space captain for 15 years. He had seen pirates, smugglers, and the occasional crazy hermit living on an asteroid. He had never seen anything like this. These aliens were coming to destroy every human in the galaxy. "Send an emergency signal to Earth," Jake ordered. Tell them we have incoming hostiles. Big numbers. Estimated arrival in 6 months. The communications officer, Lieutenant Gary Collins, started typing rapidly. The message would take hours to reach Earth even at faster than light speeds. Jake hoped it would be enough warning. On Earth's moon, Admiral Ben Hayes was having coffee in his office when the message arrived. The Lunar Command Station was humanity's main military headquarters. It had been built 3,000 years ago during the last war. Since then, it had been mostly quiet. The Admiral spent most of his time doing paperwork and training exercises. The communication alert made a soft beeping sound. Admiral Hayes put down his coffee and read the message. His eyebrows went up. Then he started to smile. By the time he finished reading, he was laughing out loud. His aide, Commander Danny Price, heard the laughter through the office door. He knocked and came in. "Sir, is everything all right?" "Danny, do you know what day it is?" the Admiral asked. "Tuesday, sir," Commander Price replied, looking confused. "No, son. Today is the day we've been waiting for. The day all that preparation finally pays off." Admiral Hayes stood up and walked to the window. He could see Earth below, blue and peaceful. "Get me a connection to all fleet commanders. Emergency Protocol 7. Commander Price had never heard of Emergency Protocol 7. He had been in the military for 10 years and thought he knew all the protocols. "Sir, what is Emergency Protocol 7? Admiral Hayes turned around. His smile was still there, but now it looked dangerous. "It's the one we use when uninvited guests show up at our door. The one where we show them why humans don't like unexpected visitors." The commander hurried out to make the calls. Within an hour, messages were flying to every human world and military base. Ancient systems that had been sleeping for centuries started waking up. Deep space monitoring stations began active scanning. Hidden weapon platforms powered up for the first time in generations. On the mining station Titan base, Colonel Amy Brooks received her orders with surprise. She commanded the local defense force, which mostly dealt with equipment accidents and the occasional drunk miner. Her orders told her to activate Defense Protocol Alpha and prepare for hostile contact. Amy had read about Defense Protocol Alpha in training, but never expected to use it. It involved turning every human settlement into a fortress. She looked at her staff of 12 security officers and wondered how they were supposed to defend anything against thousands of alien ships. "Ma'am," said Sergeant Kyle Murphy, "do you really think aliens are coming?" "The orders came from Lunar Command," Amy replied. "Admiral Hayes doesn't send emergency protocols for fun. Start checking our weapon systems, all of them." "Ma'am, we only have 6 patrol boats and some mining lasers." Amy smiled the same dangerous smile that Admiral Hayes had worn. "Son, you have no idea what we really have. 3,000 years is a long time to prepare for company." Back on the New Horizon, Captain Jake Morrison was still studying the alien signals when his communications officer called out, "Captain, I'm getting a response from Earth. It's Admiral Hayes himself." Jake took the communication. Admiral Hayes appeared on the screen, looking calm and confident. "Captain Morrison, thank you for the warning. How are your crew holding up?" "We're nervous, sir," Jake replied honestly. "These aliens have destroyed hundreds of worlds. They're coming with everything they have." "Good," Admiral Hayes said. "That means they'll bring all their ships to one place. Makes our job easier." Jake stared at the Admiral. "Sir, with respect, they have thousands of ships. We haven't fought a real war in 3,000 years. Admiral Hayes laughed again. "Captain, we haven't fought a war because we've been getting ready for one. Every day for 3,000 years. These aliens think they're hunting sheep. They're about to find out they're hunting wolves." The communication ended, leaving Jake staring at a blank screen. His crew looked at him with questions in their eyes. None of them understood what the Admiral meant. How could humanity fight thousands of alien ships? Dr. Lisa Carter spoke first. "Captain, maybe we should head back to Earth, warn the colonies." "No," Jake said slowly. "We stay here and watch. The Admiral wants us to track these aliens. Besides, I get the feeling Earth doesn't need our warning. I think Earth has been ready for this for a very long time." The New Horizon continued its patrol, monitoring the alien signals as they grew stronger. Every day brought the Dominion Collective closer to human space. Every day, Jake expected to receive orders to run or hide. Instead, he received orders to gather intelligence and prepare to witness something spectacular. The 3,000-year silence was about to end. Humanity was about to speak, and Jake had the feeling the galaxy was going to listen whether it wanted to or not. The sleeping giant was waking up, and it was very, very hungry. Commander Rick Stone flew his shuttle through the asteroid field near Jupiter. His orders had been simple but strange. Find asteroid designation TF7749 and activate the systems inside. The asteroid looked exactly like all the others, gray, lumpy, and boring. Rick had been flying around rocks like this for 20 years and never found anything interesting inside them. His navigator, Lieutenant Bobby Chen, checked their position again. "Commander, we're at the right coordinates. That's our rock dead ahead." Rick looked at the asteroid through his window. It was maybe 2 kilometers wide and covered in the usual space dust and crater marks. He could not see anything special about it. "Are you sure this is the right place, Bobby? It looks like every other rock out here." "Yes, sir. The coordinates match exactly. Admiral Hayes' orders said to look for a hidden docking port on the dark side." Rick flew around the asteroid slowly. His ship's lights swept across the surface looking for anything that did not belong. After 10 minutes of searching, Bobby pointed at his screen. "Commander, I'm getting some kind of energy reading from that crater over there." Rick turned the shuttle toward the crater. As they got closer, the asteroid's surface began to change. What looked like natural rock was actually some kind of metal that had been painted to look like stone. A section of the crater wall slid open, revealing a docking bay that glowed with soft blue light. "Well, I'll be damned," Rick whispered. He had never seen anything like it. The docking bay was huge, easily large enough for ships 10 times bigger than his shuttle. "Bobby, how long has this thing been here?" "According to the computer, this asteroid has been in the same orbit for over 3,000 years, sir." Rick guided his shuttle into the docking bay. The moment they were inside, the outer door closed behind them. Lights came on throughout the station, revealing corridors and rooms that stretched deep into the asteroid. The place was clean and well-maintained, as if someone had just left yesterday. A voice came over their radio. It was calm and pleasant, like a helpful assistant. "Welcome to Genesis Station Alpha 7. Please proceed to the main control room for briefing materials. Thank you for your service to humanity." Rick and Bobby exchanged looks. "Genesis Station?" Bobby asked. "I've never heard of any Genesis Station." They left their shuttle and walked through the corridors. The station was spotless and modern, with technology that looked more advanced than anything Rick had seen before. Every door they passed opened automatically. Every room they looked into was filled with equipment they did not recognize. The main control room was enormous. The walls were covered with screens showing star maps, ship designs, and production statistics. In the center of the room was a chair facing the main display. When Rick sat down, the screens came to life. "Genesis Station Alpha 7 has been operational for 2,147 years, the computer voice announced. "Current production status: 47,000 vessels completed and ready for deployment. An additional 15,000 vessels are under construction. Estimated time to full readiness: 6 days. Rick stared at the numbers on the screen. 47,000 ships built inside a single asteroid. It was impossible. "Computer, show me these ships." The main screen changed to show the interior of the asteroid. Rick's jaw dropped. The rock was hollow, filled with level after level of docking bays. Thousands of ships hung in neat rows like sleeping giants. He saw sleek fighters, heavy cruisers, and massive battleships that dwarfed anything in the current human fleet. "Computer, how many Genesis stations are there?" Rick asked. "There are currently 2,847 Genesis stations operational throughout human space. Total fleet strength upon activation: 134 million vessels of all classes." Bobby nearly fell over. "Commander, did it just say 134 million ships?" Rick nodded slowly. His mind was trying to process what he was seeing. Humanity had been building the largest military fleet in galactic history for almost 3,000 years. All of it hidden inside asteroids and moons, waiting for the day when it would be needed. The computer continued its briefing. "Genesis Station Alpha 7 specializes in heavy assault vessels. Please review the technical specifications and deployment orders. Your authorization code grants you command of Battle Group 7. Rick looked at the ship designs on his screen. The technology was incredible. These ships had weapons that could crack planets and shields that could stop stars from burning. Every system was designed for one purpose: winning wars against superior numbers. "Computer, why were these stations built?" Rick asked. "Following the conclusion of the Architect War 2,987 years ago, Human leadership determined that isolation was preferable to expansion. However, isolation required preparation for eventual contact with hostile forces. The Genesis Project was authorized to ensure humanity's survival against any future threat. The screen changed to show historical records from the Architect War. Rick read about energy beings that tried to reshape all organic life. He read about battles that lasted decades and destroyed entire star systems. He read about how humanity won through sheer determination and refusal to surrender. The architects were nearly immortal, the computer explained. They commanded forces beyond human understanding. Humanity defeated them by being too stubborn to die and too clever to stay defeated. Current projections suggest the Dominion Collective will present significantly less challenge. Meanwhile, on the planet New Haven, Chief Engineer Kate Murphy was having her own surprise. Her orders had sent her to an old mining facility that supposedly contained important defense equipment. What she found was an underground city that stretched for kilometers in every direction. "How did we not know about this?" asked her assistant, Sergeant Tom Wilson. They stood on a platform overlooking assembly lines that produced weapons and equipment at an impossible rate. "Because we weren't supposed to know," Kate replied. She was reading the status reports on her tablet. "This is the Titan defense grid. It's been building planetary defenses for 3,000 years. The manufacturing facility was incredible. Automated systems produced shield generators the size of buildings. Weapon platforms that looked like small moons rolled off assembly lines. Everything was designed to turn human worlds into impregnable fortresses." Kate accessed the main computer system. The status report made her smile. Every human colony had a facility like this. Every world was already protected by defenses that could stop entire fleets. The colonists living on the surface had no idea they were sitting on top of the most powerful military installations ever built. Back on Genesis Station Alpha 7, Commander Rick Stone was still studying ship specifications when an alert came through. "Commander, this is Admiral Hayes. What's your status?" "Sir, I don't even know where to begin," Rick replied. "We've got 47,000 ships here, and the computer says there are thousands of other stations like this one." "That's correct, Commander. Every asteroid, moon, and planet in human space has been preparing for this day. We knew someone would eventually come looking for us. We decided to be ready." Rick looked at the massive ships hanging in the docking bays around him. "Admiral, these ships are incredible. The technology is decades ahead of anything I've seen." 3,000 years of research and development tends to add up, Admiral Hayes replied. "We didn't waste our isolation, Commander. We used it to become the most dangerous species in the galaxy." "Sir, what about the crews for all these ships?" Admiral Hayes laughed. "Commander, every human in space has been training for this their entire life. We've been running war games disguised as exploration missions. We've been testing weapons disguised as mining equipment. Every colonist knows how to fight, and every ship captain knows how to win." Rick realized that his boring patrol missions had actually been training exercises. His cargo runs had been practice for military logistics. Every human in space had been preparing for war without even knowing it. "Admiral, the Dominion Collective has no idea what they're flying into, do they?" "No, Commander. They think they're attacking a primitive species that's been hiding in fear for 3,000 years. They're about to learn that we weren't hiding. We were getting ready. And now we're very, very ready." Fleet Admiral Kethmore commanded the largest armada in Dominion history. 50,000 ships stretched across space like a metal galaxy, their weapons charged and ready for war. He had conquered entire star systems with smaller fleets. The humans would be destroyed within hours of contact. "All fleet commanders, this is Admiral Kethmore," he broadcast to his subordinates. "The humans destroyed our vanguard through cowardice and hidden traps. They will not have such advantages against our main force. We will show them the true power of the Dominion Collective." The massive fleet moved into human space in perfect formation. Each ship knew its position and role. The Dominion had refined their attack strategies over 1,000 years of conquest. No species had ever survived their full assault. What Admiral Kethmore did not know was that Captain Sam Rodriguez and the stealth destroyer Silent Thunder were already among his ships. Human stealth technology had advanced far beyond anything the Dominion could detect. Sam's ship moved through the alien fleet like a ghost, invisible to their sensors. "All teams report ready," Sam whispered into his communication system. His ship was one of 50 stealth vessels that had infiltrated the Dominion formation. Their mission was simple: cripple the enemy communication network before the main battle began. Sam studied the alien fleet through his ship's sensors. The Dominion ships were large and heavily armed, but they were also old-fashioned. Their designs had not changed in centuries. They relied on overwhelming numbers rather than advanced technology. "Execute Storm Protocol," Sam ordered. The 50 human stealth ships attacked simultaneously. They targeted communication relay stations, command ships, and fleet coordination centers. Within minutes, the massive Dominion armada lost its ability to coordinate attacks or share information. Admiral Kethmore felt his first moment of panic when his communication systems went silent. He could see his ships on the tactical display, but he could not talk to them. The organized fleet became a collection of confused groups with no central command. "Sir, we're under attack," reported his tactical officer. "Enemy ships are appearing throughout the fleet." "Impossible," Kethmore replied. "Our sensors show no enemy vessels." "Sir, the stealth ships are destroying our communication relays. We're losing contact with the outer formations." Before Kethmore could respond, the main human fleet appeared. They came out of hyperspace in perfect formation, their ships gleaming with fresh paint and new armor. The fleet was enormous, easily matching the Dominion numbers, but that was not what shocked the alien admiral. What shocked him was that every human ship looked different. The Dominion used standard designs that had been proven effective over centuries. The humans had ships that looked like nothing he had ever seen before. Some were sleek and fast. Others were massive and heavily armored. All of them carried weapons that made space itself glow with dangerous energy. Admiral Ben Hayes commanded the human fleet from his flagship Terra's Wrath. The ship was larger than most space stations and carried enough firepower to destroy small moons. He opened a communication channel to the entire Dominion fleet. "Attention Dominion Collective," Admiral Hayes announced, his voice carrying across thousands of enemy ships. "You came here to destroy humanity. Instead, you have given us the opportunity to field test 3,000 years of military innovation. We thank you for your service to human science." The human fleet attacked with precision that amazed even their own crews. Every ship knew exactly what to do. Every weapon fired at the perfect moment. The humans had trained for this battle for their entire lives, even when they thought they were just running routine patrols. Captain Rita Johnson commanded the heavy cruiser New York's Pride. Her ship engaged 3 Dominion battleships simultaneously and destroyed all of them without taking significant damage. The alien weapons could not penetrate her shields, while her own weapons tore through enemy armor like paper. "This is incredible," Rita told her crew. "Their technology is at least 2 centuries behind ours. It's like fighting with museum pieces." Throughout the battle, human ships demonstrated capabilities that the Dominion had never encountered. They could jump short distances instantly, making them impossible to target. Their shields could redirect enemy fire back at the attackers. Their weapons could adjust their effects based on what type of armor they hit. Dr. Lisa Carter monitored Dominion communications from the command ship. What she heard made her smile. The aliens were no longer calling humans a primitive species. Now they referred to them as the death species and the ones who laugh at extinction. "Admiral, the Dominion fleet is trying to retreat," reported Commander Danny Price. "Several formation groups are attempting to leave the battle zone." "Let them go," Admiral Hayes replied, "but make sure they understand the terms of their departure." Human ships allowed some Dominion vessels to escape, but not before delivering a message. Every retreating alien ship received the same transmission. "Humanity sends its regards. Tell your friends what happens to species that threaten innocent people." The battle became a demonstration rather than a fight. Human Marines boarded Dominion command ships with casual efficiency. Lieutenant Colonel Chris Martin led one of the boarding parties, his powered armor making him look like a walking tank. The alien defenders fired their weapons at him, but the shots bounced off his armor without leaving scratches. "Dominion soldiers," Chris announced over his suit's speakers, "you have 2 choices. Surrender now, or discover why human Marines train in conditions that would kill most species." The alien soldiers chose surrender. Word spread quickly through the Dominion fleet that human infantry was as dangerous as human starships. Some alien crews surrendered their vessels rather than face boarding actions. Admiral Kethmore watched his mighty fleet dissolve around him. Ships that had conquered worlds were being destroyed by human vessels that looked like they had been built yesterday. His crews were surrendering rather than fighting. His carefully planned assault had become a complete disaster. "Sir, "We're receiving a transmission from the human admiral," his communications officer reported. Admiral Hayes appeared on the screen, looking as calm as ever. "Admiral Kethmore, I believe it's time we discuss terms." "Terms?" Kethmore asked weakly. His fleet had been reduced to less than 10,000 ships. The humans had lost maybe a dozen vessels. "The terms of your surrender," Hayes clarified. "Your species will return to your home systems and stay there. You will release all conquered peoples and provide reparations for your crimes. Any Dominion ship found outside your territory will be destroyed without warning." Kethmore wanted to refuse, but he could see the human fleet surrounding his remaining ships. Their weapons were still charged and ready. "And if we refuse your terms, then we will demonstrate what happens when humanity stops being polite," Admiral Hayes replied. "Admiral, you attacked us with 50,000 ships. We destroyed 40,000 of them in 6 hours while losing 12 of our own. Do you really want to see what we do when we get serious?" The broken Dominion fleet limped home with less than 5,000 survivors. They carried news that would change the galaxy forever. The species they thought were primitive farmers and miners were actually the most advanced military force in known space. On Earth, Admiral Hayes reviewed the battle reports with satisfaction. Operation Homecoming had been a complete success. Humanity had announced their return to the galaxy in the most dramatic way possible. Every species would now know that the age of conquest was over. "Sir, we're detecting movement from other galactic powers," reported Commander Price. "It seems everyone wants to know more about us." "Good," Admiral Hayes replied. "It's time the galaxy learned that some species should not be threatened. Send a message to all civilizations. Tell them humanity is back, and we're here to make sure bullies like the Dominion never hurt anyone again." The Dominion collective surrender came 3 days after their defeat. Less than 5,000 ships remained from their original fleet of 50,000. Fleet Admiral Kethmore himself requested terms, his once proud voice now broken and desperate. Admiral Ben Hayes met the Dominion representatives on a neutral space station that humans had built in just 2 days. The construction speed alone was enough to terrify the aliens. No species could build space stations that quickly unless they had technology far beyond anything the Dominion understood. Kethmore entered the meeting room with 2 guards and an advisor. They all looked defeated and afraid. Hayes was waiting for them with a simple document and a calm expression. He had not bothered to bring guards of his own. "Admiral Kethmore," Hayes said politely, "please have a seat. We have terms to discuss." The alien admiral sat down carefully, his eyes never leaving Hayes's face. He had expected threats, anger, or demands for revenge. Instead, the human admiral seemed almost friendly. "The terms are simple," Hayes continued, sliding the document across the table. "Your forces will return to Dominion space immediately. All conquered species will be released and given reparations. Any Dominion ship found outside your home systems will be destroyed without warning or negotiation." Kethmore read the document with growing relief. The terms were harsh but fair. He had expected the humans to demand complete surrender or the destruction of his remaining fleet. "These terms are acceptable," he said quietly. "Good," Hayes replied. "There is one more thing. Your species will send representatives to a galactic council that humanity is establishing. This council will prevent future wars of conquest." "We agree to all terms," Kethmore said quickly. He wanted to escape human space before they changed their minds about letting him live. Hayes smiled and stood up. "Admiral, you tried to destroy us because you thought we were weak. You were wrong. But we're not interested in ruling the galaxy through fear like you did. We just want to make sure no other species suffers what you put others through." The Dominion fleet departed human space that same day. They carried news of humanity's power to every corner of the galaxy. Within weeks, the story had spread to thousands of worlds. The species that had hidden for 3,000 years had returned as the strongest military force in galactic history. But Admiral Hayes was not finished. He activated something called the Genesis Network, revealing that humanity had been building more than just warships. Massive construction vessels emerged from hidden bases throughout human space. These ships were even larger than the battleships that had defeated the Dominion. Captain Jake Morrison, promoted to admiral after his role in detecting the Dominion threat, commanded one of the construction fleets. His new flagship, the Terra Nova, was designed to build entire space stations in a matter of days. "Admiral Morrison, you are authorized to begin beacon station construction," Hayes ordered over the communication system. Priority locations are former Dominion territories where liberated species need protection. Jake's fleet moved to the Kepler system, where the Dominion had enslaved a species called the Altari for over 300 years. The Altari were peaceful scientists who had never developed military technology. They had been easy prey for Dominion warships. The human construction fleet arrived to find Altari colonies in ruins and the population hiding in underground shelters. They were afraid that the humans were another conquering species. Jake's first job was to convince them that humanity was different. People of Altair, Jake broadcast to the planet. We are humans from Earth. We destroyed the Dominion fleet that enslaved you. We are here to build defenses that will ensure you are never conquered again. The Altari were suspicious at first, but they changed their minds when they saw what the humans were building. Beacon Station Altair took shape in orbit over their homeworld in just 5 days. The station was massive, beautiful, and bristling with defensive weapons. More importantly, the station broadcast a message that could be heard throughout the local star systems. This system is under human protection. Any species that threatens the inhabitants will answer to humanity. Any species that comes in peace will find friends among the stars. Dr. Lisa Carter was assigned to work with newly liberated species throughout the galaxy. Her job was to help them understand that the age of conquest was over. Many species had been enslaved for so long that they did not know how to be free. The Dominion controlled us for 500 years, explained Counselor Vex of the Zoranian Republic. We do not understand why humans would protect us without demanding tribute or service. Lisa smiled patiently. She had heard similar questions from dozens of liberated species. Humans spent 3,000 years preparing to fight bullies like the Dominion. We did not do it for conquest or profit. We did it because someone needed to stop them. But what do humans gain from protecting us? Counselor Vex asked. We gain the knowledge that innocent people can live in peace, Lisa replied. That children can grow up without fear of conquest. That scientists like your people can explore the universe instead of serving as slaves. The Zoranian counselor was quiet for a long moment. Your species is very strange, he finally said. But we are grateful for your strangeness. Similar conversations were happening throughout the galaxy as humanity established its new role as protector rather than conqueror. Ancient species emerged from hiding for the first time in centuries. Young civilizations began exploring space without fear of being enslaved. Not everyone was happy with the new order. The Hegemony Alliance, a group of militaristic species that had cooperated with the Dominion, demanded that humans withdraw from galactic affairs. Their leader, War Chief Brutax, sent an ultimatum to Admiral Hayes. Humans, the message said, you have disrupted the natural order of the galaxy. The strong should rule the weak. This has always been the way. Withdraw to your home systems or face our combined fleets. Admiral Hayes' response was broadcast to every member of the Hegemony Alliance. War Chief Brutax, the natural order you speak of has ended. Species that prey on others will answer to humanity. This is not a negotiation. This is simply how things are now. The Hegemony Alliance gathered their fleets and prepared for war against humanity. They commanded nearly 20,000 ships from 6 different species. They were confident that they could succeed where the Dominion had failed. They were wrong. The human fleet that met them at the Battle of Rigel was even larger and more advanced than the one that had defeated the Dominion. The hegemony lasted exactly 4 hours before their survivors fled in panic. Word of the battle reached every corner of the galaxy within days. Humanity had defeated 2 major military powers in less than 6 months. No species would ever again be foolish enough to challenge human authority. Admiral Hayes established the Galactic Protection Council with headquarters on Earth's moon. Representatives from hundreds of species came to discuss trade, exploration, and mutual defense. For the first time in galactic history, smaller species had a voice in galactic affairs. The age of conquest is over, Hayes announced at the first council meeting. From now on, the galaxy will be governed by cooperation rather than fear. Any species that threatens others will face humanity, and humanity does not lose. Captain Jake Morrison, now commanding an entire fleet of beacon stations, sent his final report to Earth. Admiral, the galaxy has changed completely. Former slave species are exploring space. Ancient civilizations are sharing technology. Pirates and raiders have disappeared because they know we're watching. And the Dominion? Hayes asked. They're rebuilding their society as a peaceful republic, Jake replied. Turns out they were pretty decent people once we removed their military leadership. They're actually contributing to galactic medicine now. Hayes smiled as he read the reports from throughout human space. The galaxy was finally at peace, protected by humanity's overwhelming military power and commitment to justice. Species that had hidden in fear for millennia were now exploring the stars. The 3,000-year silence had ended with humanity's return as the galaxy's guardian. They had proven that the strongest species could also be the kindest, that power could be used to protect rather than conquer. In his final log entry, Admiral Hayes wrote, "Today marks the first anniversary of humanity's return to galactic society. We have established peace, protected the innocent, and shown the galaxy that some species fight not for conquest, but for the right of all beings to live free. The silence is broken and the galaxy is singing.